Four representatives here from different professional bodies or semi-professional student organisations within the synthetic biology and also systems biology community. And I think we're just going to start really. It's going to be hopefully a very informal discussion. Each of us are going to give you a very brief overview of the institutions that we're representing, and then open it up for discussions between ourselves and to any questions, and hopefully just have a very informal discussion. It's a shame we can't get any seats for us to sit down the front, but we'll take it as it comes. So I'm here just to represent the Institute of Engineering and Technology, the IET, which was established in March 2006, but that was when it was the amalgamation of the what was the Institute of Electrical Engineers, the IEE, and the Institute of Incorporated Engineers, the ICC. So actually, although it's a relatively new organisation in that respect, it's actually a very well-established old organisation with over 150,000 members worldwide, which makes it Europe's biggest engineering institution and the second largest in the world after the IEEE, which you'll have heard of, in mostly a US-based institution. The institution itself has roughly 400 to between 400 and 500 staff and offices across Europe, Asia, and North America. And between those staff, they, as well as supporting the professional engineering fields that they cover, they also organise 120 events and conferences. And they do that for a variety of what they call technical professional networks, or TPNs for short. And there's over 40 of those, with the newest being in systems and synthetic biology. And that marks quite a change, really, given the history in electrical and electronic engineering and nanotechnology, to now be taking in and incorporating the life sciences and the restructuring of the institution to incorporate that. And of course, it's a good news for us as engineers in the field of synthetic biology that we're getting the support of such a well-resourced and established institution. And there's some interesting parallels to be drawn between what we're looking for really in the developing synthetic biology community and what's already been done over the last 100 years in the electrical engineering community by the big institutions like the IET and the IEEE. For example, the IET is still responsible for publishing wiring standards and regulations for the electronics electrical industry, and so it might be something that I think Jim Hasselhoff here, who's the editor of the new IET Synthetic Biology Journal, is interested in potentially using that as a model for synthetic biology parts and devices. As I just mentioned, the journals, the IET also have a wing dedicated to technical journals, with over 40 in all different subjects, mostly covering obviously electronics and power engineering. And this is there's already a reasonably well-established systems biology journal, and the new synthetic biology journal. There's a lot of, as well Jim here, but a lot of the senior scientists here are on the scientific advisory board of that journal as well. And it's less formal, and this latest issue was dedicated to the iGEM competition. The other thing I think which is reasonably relevant is with the move to the new technical professional network, is it's also had a flagship event, which is the Biosys Bio event, which was formally organised by a group of students, and we're going to have a talk from the student council member here in a little while. So there's parallels with that organisation, which was a group of students in systems biology and synthetic biology that then got taken under the wing of the IET, and we've had 3 successful events, one under the IET's leadership in Imperial last year, and then before in Edinburgh and Manchester, and there's going to be another one in March 2009 in Cambridge, and that's really going to be hopefully the flagship event of the new technical network. But it is ideally primarily aimed at graduate students and young faculty, again reflecting the new kind of dynamic nature of the field that we're in. And finally, the other thing I think is relevant to today's discussion and to the other groups here in terms of how we move forward is that in terms of accreditation, I think one of the things we potentially wanted to discuss was how do you, what makes you a biological engineer, how do you accredit that, should you be licensed? And as a matter of course, the IET accredits over 160 undergraduate courses within the UK right now via the Engineering Council of the UK. It's like officially appointed to do that, and it might be something that we need to look into as the curriculums are developing and changing. I know certainly in the UK it's a little bit behind the US, where you can basically take a bioengineering course, but it's certainly something I think that we should think about in the future. And they obviously come with additional aspects of the ethics and the security and the responsibility that go with the potentially more powerful technologies that we've been discussing. I don't think I've got too much more to say about the IET, so I'll hand over to Christina, who's going to introduce the IBE. So all that acronym.
All right, hello. I just wanted to introduce and give you a little bit of background on the professional society that I'm here to represent, which is the IBE, the Institute for Biological Engineering. This is an organization. I'm currently acting as president of this organization. Its membership is primarily U.S.-based at the current time. The sort of mission of the IBE is to very broadly promote inquiry and interest broadly within biological engineering. And so the sort of areas that it focuses on is supporting the community of biological engineers in research, education, and professional development. To give you a little bit of history about this organization, I believe it's been in existence now for at least 10 years. It's a small organization, relatively speaking, to the one that we just heard about. Its current membership is on the order of about 340 sort of full members. It breaks down to about 2/3 student membership. And so traditionally, if you look at the history of IBE, it's always had that sort of breakdown of student members. So its student membership has always sort of dominated it, and it tends to have a very active student membership and participation. Its activities are really focused on a few events during the year right now. And so it has one annual meeting that it sponsors. It now has actually recently started to do regional meetings, and this is motivated largely by the student chapters that are part of IBE. And so what they do there is student chapters that are sort of located geographically close to one another have started to organize regional meetings, maybe within, let's say three universities, and organize basically a day or two of student presentations and local presentations from both academic and industrial speakers. And then doing this in a way where they try to connect the universities and also webcast it as well. So this is something that we've recently started. The IBE also has recently launched a journal, the Journal of Biological Engineering. This has just been launched this year, so this is a very new journal, but we've already had some really great publications in this journal from the community, from the synthetic biology community, and so that's been really great to see. The other things, and so now it's basically, we've started to focus a little bit more on thinking about what we can do to sort of organize and push discussions in the community on education within biological engineering, so trying to focus discussions on what the core of biological engineering education should really look like, what are the core strengths and focuses of this discipline. And in addition, we're starting to focus more on sort of branching out to industry and providing those sort of services to our membership. Let's see, is there anything else, background that I can give you in the way of IBE? Maybe I'll end it there, and then if there are questions or discussion, we can sort of go through and have more questions and discussions after that.
Hello. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Abhishek and I'll be representing IS. I think I'll use this one, this will be better. Is it fine? Okay, great. So I'm representing ISCB Student Council here, and basically we'll give you folks an idea of what the model of Student Council is and how it's affiliated with ISCB. And how could a similar model be adapted in this BioBricks, under the umbrella of BioBricks, basically starting a student community there. So what Student Council is all about. We have an International Society of Computational Biology, which is the renowned international society in the field of bioinformatics. And there comes the Student Council. So it's pretty much under the umbrella of ISCB and is directly affiliated with it. It's purely managed by the students, and it's a professional organization where we we organize our own symposiums each year, which I'll talk about briefly. We have our elected leadership, which is elected via an online elections that we have in a collaboration with ISCB. And then there are a couple of other leaders which are voluntarily associated with the Student Council. Our mission, basically, we broadly define it to be to promote the development of next generation of computational biologists, which basically includes, thank you, which basically includes, importantly, undergraduates, graduates, and to a degree, postgraduates from universities around the world. So how do we realize our mission? So we do it by three ways: promoting science among the student community, providing opportunities for networking, and to an extent, career counseling for students. This is our annual symposium that we hold every year on the sidelines of ISMB, which is an official conference of ISCB. There are many acronyms here, once again. And the last one was in Toronto on 18th July. The new one is coming in Stockholm, Sweden. The important thing about this is purely student managed. We raise our own funds, try to contact organizers, and give fellowships to students to attend this particular event, and as well as ISMB. Coming on to the regional student group. So this is kind of a new idea that we have come up with, trying to expand the wings of Student Council, pretty much with what Christina also touched upon. So basically what we are trying to do is trying to address the needs of local students or community based on their regions. There's a very significant discordance, I would say, among the student, the needs of the student in Asia, for example, with Europe, and we're trying to address those specific needs with the help of RSGs. That means regional student groups. And we coined the term local window to global opportunities for those students. So where are these established till now? We have 9 or 10 of them running all over the world in different countries, pretty much very successfully. And these are some of the leaders there. They are student leaders. They are either postdocs, PhDs, or some of them are undergraduates too. And there are more than 5,000 members of these RSGs. And these are kind of logos that we have come up with for different based on their flags, and kind of to brand these RSGs for raising money locally. And again, these are small groups of students try to work with the same thing about promoting science, networking, and careers for the local students in their region. And this is kind of an architecture of what the leadership is like. There's a faculty advisor for that particular group. There's a president and a secretary, which have to be ISCB members in order to be the leaders for those particular regions. And then comes the members. The membership is open to all, and it's kind of we are a service-based architecture, providing information to all the students and essentially guiding them, associating with the local mentors in their region. So I have finally come up with a couple of questions which we propose like a student community in synthetic biology, and would like to make the floor open for you to answer these. These are some questions which we feel are important for the field, and yep, here they are. So you want to discuss it here, and like first one comes at what kinds of model will suit synthetic biology student community. We feel it could be a completely independent organization, a professional organization, or something which can work under the umbrella of BioBreaks. How much and what kind of influence could a student organization have in the development of the field? We feel that students are basically the upcoming leaders and for the field, and for a student community to work and be successful, it needs to be taken very seriously by the leaders in the field. The current professors, they have to be associated with it as a mentor or as someone who guides the students or what to do next. Who are the stakeholders in such an endeavor? It's primarily students who have to be dedicated enough to take care that they have a sustainable architecture which addresses primarily the needs of the local students. What are the disadvantages and advantages of being connected to a university or educational institutions? So for any local group to survive in the region, it needs to have some kind of funding funding source, and we have different architecture and different RSGs have adapted to it. Some are associated with institutes, some are associated and housed in universities. So these are different options that we can take. And then what are the activities, which is very important, of a student community or organization should focus on, since the field is pretty much nascent and it's evolving. And I feel there are very different needs that we have to address, which we sometimes don't focus on. Students in Asia tends to have need a different kind of guidance and mentorship to get up to a level of where they understand the basics of the field, so that they can continue it on as a professional career, which is the primary focus, or which we feel should be the primary focus of this organization. So I'll leave the floor open with these questions, and if anyone has to say anything about it, that would be great. We take it later? Okay, that's fine. So, yeah, Jen can come to speak.
So, first of all, I'm Janet Nelson from Biotechnology Industry Organization. I'm very happy to be here today, and I thank the organizers for including us in the program. Drew especially was very helpful in facilitating my role here. And Bio is a sponsor of this meeting, so we're really happy to be promoting these types of activities in synthetic biology and other endeavors. So I'll briefly tell you just a little bit about Bio, and then specifically the division I'm in, the section on industrial and environmental work, and then talk about a few of the activities that Bio is doing specifically in synthetic biology, and where we think we can try to contribute to the areas. So Bio is a professional organization. It's a trade association based in Washington, D.C., primarily made up of biotech companies. We do have some corporate or industrial, and then we have some academic affiliates as well. But there's about 1,200 biotech companies, and most of them are small biotech companies. The primary area of interest at Bio is in the healthcare. Then there's the food and ag division, and then the division I'm in is the smallest division, but the fastest growing, and what I think is the most exciting in industrial biotechnology. So in I&E section, we have about 60 members, and looking at industrial uses of biotechnology, uses of enzymes, making clean processes, looking at a lot of research in the biofuels area, bio-based products, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, some of the new interest in algae research are the types of things that are falling under our purview. So Bio does a lot with education. They do a lot with business partnering. They run some pretty major conferences each year, as well as the lobbying efforts on Capitol Hill. So I'm going to put in a brief plug right now. I have flyers, but next summer we're having our meeting, World Congress on Industrial Biotechnology in Montreal, which is a beautiful city, and it's next June, so you have plenty of time to book your travel. But we try to have strong programming at both our World Congress and our Pacific Rim Basin meetings. We've had Drew Endy very recently as a speaker, and Drew, we're still getting praises about your talk. Jay Kiesling's talked. A number of folks have talked. So we think that that's important. So in the I&E section, I've organized a working group on synthetic biology, and we have about 30 people at the table. The chair is Kincaid Riling from Amyris, and we have representatives from Amyris and LS9 and synthetic genomics and DNA 2.0 and Genomatica and Codon Devices, and I'm probably forgetting a number of folks. But we're working on coming up with some priorities of what we want to do in the synthetic biology area. And I think one of the things we want to help is in framing the issues, and especially in the area of the public perception and the understanding of synthetic biology. So if you want to send me your ideas, too, after this discussion, I think we'll probably get some of those ideas here. But trying to define both the understanding and then the responsible uses of synthetic biology is one of going to be the goals of this working group. They're also going to be addressing intellectual property, ownership, regulatory issues, and those types of things as well. So we're pleased to be here today, and I'm looking forward to a good discussion.
I have the unenviable position of substituting for Lauren Ha. Lauren, as you know, is the lead on the meeting and has asked that she could go work on some other details that have come up today. So my name is Drew Endy. I'm the president of the BioBricks Foundation, and my battery has died, and so I'll give this talk from memory. The BioBricks Foundation is a nonprofit organization based out of Massachusetts, and we were started a couple years ago. Our primary goal was to, our primary goal has been to enable the establishment of an open collection of free-to-use BioBrick parts. This is not a religious position. It's actually something that's been derived from some consideration of the biotechnology industry. Our underlying values are fourfold. They include, to begin with, that we'd like to make biology easy to engineer. And so we're not doing something to be religious about openness and freedom. We happen to believe from a variety of positions that having a free-to-use collection of BioBrick parts will ultimately make biology easier to engineer, and it's an essential component of it. We also believe that anybody who has constructive intent should have access to biological technologies, which is a secondary reason why we believe that free-to-use parts are important. We believe that folks work well together and are more constructive when they tend to share, and so it's a third value that we find to be important. As an organization, we're relatively small. We have 400 members. Members are non-voting members. There's a board of directors that is comprised of Christopher Voigt from UCSF, Pam Silver from Harvard, Randy Redberg from MIT, myself at Stanford, and Tom Knight at MIT, where we're actively recruiting additional board members. That's an ongoing process. Within the membership, we have working groups. We have a working group on technical standards. By technical standards, I mean the technical definitions describing what a BioBrick part is, how you put them together, how they could be defined and described such that they could be more readily reused. For example, standards that support functional composition. We also have, and that's about just under 100 people strong now. We have a legal working group which is split into two parts. We have a legal team, which is a relatively closed group. These are the attorneys of the BioBricks Foundation. And from this morning's session, if you were there, you would have heard from two of our attorneys at the Samuelson Clinic at the UC Berkeley Law School. Not represented here today are Mark Fisher and Lee Cruz, partners at Fish & Richardson, a private firm in Boston that's one of the top biotechnology patent firms in the U.S. And on a pro bono basis, they represent the BioBricks Foundation with a specific focus on the drafting of the BioBrick public license, one of our ongoing activities. In terms of the work of the foundation, from my opening remarks, just to remind everybody, again, our goal is to create this free collection of BioBrick parts, but getting that to actually happen involves some other activities, many of which could be recognized as community building, social engineering, not in a pejorative sense. And so this includes the public workshops, which we have on a quarterly basis. Our next workshop will take place at MIT on Monday, November 10th from 9 a.m. to noon. We'll talk about the legal framework, we'll talk about the technical standards, and then we'll have an open discussion. These workshops typically have an open board meeting at their end. We also, as a set of activities, help to organize this conference. So Synthetic Biology 4.0 has the BioBricks Foundation as the lead organization. This obviously has a tremendous responsibility associated with bringing a community together. And one of the reasons I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak in this session is we've not yet figured out what to do with Synthetic Biology 5.0, 6.0, 7.0. I think a very exciting possibility would be to partner with one or more regional professional societies, the BIO, the IBE, the IET, a student organization, or else, or otherwise, such that we could get onto a worldwide cycle for the conference series, either running the conference series concurrently or adjacent to other ongoing meetings. So, for example, if the IBE and the SB N.0, the annual meeting and SB N.0 were the same meeting, that could be interesting, exciting. Our goals in thinking about this are to begin to transition some of the responsibilities of community off the BioBricks Foundation, which as an organization operating in this space has a tendency to accumulate responsibility. If I had my druthers, the BioBricks Foundation would have a very limited set of responsibilities around operating the legal framework and doing just whatever is necessary to make that work. So professional society, professional practice, accreditation, standard setting to an extent are all activities that I think we'd like to see distributed and taken up by other leaders within the community. The activities of the BBF going, that's something I'm looking forward to and would welcome in our discussions here. The other activities of the BBF include the BioFab project, which I discussed yesterday. I'm intending that although this should have academic and industrial partners, that this will be something that is an activity driven by the BBF, the BioBrick public license as something that the BBF will deploy and probably, depending on how it turns out, make available for others to use is an ongoing activity. The trademark licensing program, the BioBricks Foundation holds worldwide trademarks around the use of BioBrick and BioBricks for genetic engineering and biotechnology. We've just gotten our first requests from industrial organizations to seek a license for use of that mark in their own products, so that in a product catalog you'll begin to see things called, BioBricks assembly kit, perhaps. So that's something that's been new for us and we've been working on over the last couple months. And I've got one more thing, and I can't remember what it is. But those are some of the things we're up to, and I'm really looking forward and would welcome an open discussion and partnerships with other professional organizations in synthetic biology so that we can all take this work forward.